Welcome to the second battle between Astro Robin and Jonas. And Astro Robin got the role as Pergamon this time, and he's facing Jonas. So, off the bat, uh, Astro Robin does have worse pikemen here than what the Macedonians have. Overall, I would say that Macedonia as a faction has an advantage over Pergamon. Because these Tarentines are melee cavalry, they do have ammunition, right? They're good. He can use these as infantry support if he wants to first, and then just use his cavalry then as regular cavalry. He has some Gallic mercenary warbands. These are armor-piercing axemen available to Pergamon. He has some regular Teriosi spears, but he also has expensive Teriosi thorax spearmen. These are heavy spears. They have 41 in armor, they can form a square, and they have discipline formation also. A very tough unit and very good for protecting phalanxes. He also has these Pergamese Teriosi swordsmen. They may be worse than the Macedonian version of it, but they still have 3 javelins, so used correctly can also do a lot of damage. These Tarentine cavalry are not shock cavalry, but if the goal is to just guard your flanks, then they are suited perfectly for that. Astro Robin got himself a Scorpio, and this Scorpio is an excellent anti-cavalry tool. So this one can kill off cavalry, and he needs to kill off cavalry. The Macedonian general is 200 men strong. You cannot underestimate this unit. So, the Macedonians have bronze shield pikemen. They are, of course, better than the Pergamese Sarissa. However, he did not bring any short pikemen here to the flank. He has 3 Teriosi spears on this side, along with all his cavalry of the regular kind. His general is over here, by him, no cavalry there. He has 2 Sarissa cavalry. These are lighter shock cavalry. Then 2 Thessalians, so 5 cavalry units for the Macedonians. But what will he do with this cavalry? He has a Rhodian slinger here, and that's good for anti-cavalry purpose. But Macedonia already has a good cavalry advantage here. It doesn't hurt, but it's only 1 unit. He also had units of dart slingers here. These are sort of like peltasts, but a little bit more ammunition. And now he has a royal peltast here. These are the sword troops. They have 2 javelins and high attack. But if you have to choose between a royal peltast and a royal pikeman, always go for the royal pikeman, as the lack of shock pikes here can hurt Macedon. He has Agrianians and all that, but nothing of the Pergamese can really counter the shock pikes except missiles. So, and if we have known that the Macedonian pike swordsmen, the Teriosi, these men, are a little better than the Pergamese version, then you only need to make sure that these Pergamese swordsmen are hurling at your swordsmen, and then your royal pikemen would be much safer to push the flanks here, whilst your cavalry simply guard the flanks of it. You have Agrianians, you have overall better infantry than what the Pergamese have. You push that advantage and be defensive with the cavalry for start. But let's see what happens here. And these Teriosi spears are moving to this flank. Macedonians are moving a bit back. Here we can see some Agrianian axemen. These are very good jockey infantry. Very useful in both campaign and multiplayer. I think he wants to have a heavy push over here. Understandable. If he can push this side and have some slingers over here as well, he can hit the unshielded side of the Pergamon. Macedonian cavalry for some reason is moving up here. Now this is like sort of like very risky. Like Macedon can easily zone out this cavalry. The Macedonian cavalry maybe are getting... Well, he was lucky there. But this cavalry is now very far away from the Macedonian infantry. So it's up to... yeah, will be tough. It's good that he's pushing up here. These Rhodians must keep pushing up. He has a light hoplite spearman right here in the back. But these men are not good in a front line. They're there to maneuver around, help cavalry. And these Agrianian axemen are kept as a reserve with the royal peltas and these Tyreosi swordsmen. These Tyreosi swordsmen should definitely be up here. These Tyreosi spears are now moving on their own. Now these Pergamese thorax spearmen will be very tough for the supporting infantry to deal with. These Tyreosi spears are now hurling their javelins, but this unit has 3 javelins to hurl back. Some Tyreosi spears of the Pergamese are also moving up to hurl their javelins, waking up these spears. So far the Macedonian cavalry haven't taken any damage, but keep in mind that these Tarentines have 8 speed, so they can quickly, before this Macedonian cavalry will be back to react to this. Obviously Pergamon can't really expose his rear, but this is still a very good sign for the Pergamese that the Macedonian cavalry is over here, as this can be easily countered. Scorpio is now shooting at the dense blocks of these Tyreosi spears, and every kill there is a little bit easier for the Pergamese infantry to move up. The Rhodian slingers are now shooting at these Tyreosi swordsmen of the Pergamese. The Macedonians do need to keep pushing up here, but they have no flank protection on this side. Yeah, attack with 1 unit over there, lock it down. Just keep herding these Tyreosi spearmen. These dart slingers have an excellent position here, down to deal with these pikes. Deny the flank here. And these slingers must move up to here. I can see that the Agrianians here have a good position here to flank these spears. These thorax spearmen have now been moved up here to flank these... okay, they went to a square formation. Now these pikemen are now moving up. They're exposed here. These dart slingers could definitely melt these pikemen units. This royal peltas is being used very well. Though it would be far better to have our royal pikemen unit on both sides here. The Macedonian cavalry has now been are now moving separated, which is very bad for them. The Pergamese cavalry is concentrated. They can easily deal with the Macedonian cavalry that are now separate. These Thessalians will be intercepted. Would be very bad for the Macedonians. This general must move to the side. I'm surprised that the Scorpio is not shooting the general yet. Form diamond formation here with the Thessalians. That would help you a lot in bonus versus cavalry. These Pergamese pikemen are being routed by the royal peltas. That's very well done here by the Macedonians. Just keep flanking here, keep doing damage. Macedonian general is moving in here. It will do. These Thessalian cavalry must move back towards here. These Tarentines got 3 kills on these Lancers. These Lancers are not really doing anything. He wants to counter this threat, but it's not going to work. He needs to move these pikemen back. And he needs to move this to the side here and kill off this cavalry. But the Macedonian general is taking damage from this Scorpio. He needs to charge this unit. He needs to charge in here or deal with these Oxybelles and then make a quick routing attack on these Pergamese pikemen. As long as this Scorpio lives, it's going to be harder and harder for the Macedonians to win. This Macedonian general is doing a lot of damage to this, but when these Tyriosi spears are here, you can't win this cavalry fight now, and it's bad to send in even more cavalry in here to deal with it. So infantry-wise, the Macedonians are doing well, but cavalry-wise, it's very bad for him. These Tyriosi Sarissa Lancers are just getting hammered by these. They're taking a lot of damage. So he's routing 1 unit of swords, but he needs to pull out the cavalry after the charge. These Rhodian mercenary slingers are getting hammered. These thorax spears are holding off very well. But the Macedonian general has been killed. And good that he's targeting some cavalry here, but it's not going to be enough. He needs to get a side charge here on the side. Attack here on the side here and rout this Gallic axe unit. These Tyriosi spear got a war cry, which reduces their morale. Tyriosi spear on Tyriosi spear. He needs to retreat this infantry. Try to get back to his own line and guard the flanks of his units. This Sarissa Lander charged in here, but he needs to retreat this unit immediately after connecting, because this unit is very lightly armored. Let's see, the Rhodians are attacking here, and the Dart Slingers are probably attacking there as well. But now the Pergamese cavalry is now coming in here. They will scatter this pike unit because it's isolated. That can be easily routed. That will really help the Pergamese. And now another cavalry unit coming in here into these Dart Slingers. Gonna rout them, and that will affect the morale of the nearby units. That unit got shattered. Now it's all about shattering this unit. So immediately the Macedonians are now... Oh, these Tyriosi Ensoi are getting attacked, and the Sarissa Lancers have now been routed. The Scorpio is shooting into these pikes, so they're getting hammered from this side, and again, now the Macedonians have no defense against this Pergamese cavalry, and the Pergamese cavalry was inferior to the Macedonian cavalry. Now these men are not attacking. These Royal Peltasts are now moving here to counter this threat from these Gallic axemen. This bronze pikemen should not have left the safety of this, because now they're isolated and they're gonna get hit from all sides and gonna rout, making it even easier for the Pergamese to flank the remaining units. I see no other troops from Macedon remaining, or that has come back. These swordsmen are moving in here whilst these Tyriosi Ensoi are tired. Pergamon dropped an ability that prevents these pikemen from dropping out of their phalanx and regrouping. They're quite tired now. The Turosi Ensoi got routed from the Macedonians. Pergamon has an advantage and his cavalry is now sweeping in. His pike unit tries to regroup to face this cavalry, but it's gonna rout, likely. And then these Pergamese cavalry are moving in to rout this Peltast unit. Or Royal Peltast. They are sword units that are still called Peltasts. Now there's only 2 Macedonian bronze pikemen left. And they are going to rout. As these swordsmen are getting into the rear of these bronze pike, or axemen, sorry. It doesn't take much to rout these bronze pike. A war cry again on this pike unit. They're both routing due to the army losses. And the victory goes to Pergamon. Well done to him, to taking the Scorpios, zoning out the enemy cavalry. The enemy cavalry scattered, like it was... I would say that the Macedonian player, he used his infantry well. But the cavalry, that grand maneuver he did with on flank, definitely cost him. If you have downgraded your cavalry to get better infantry, wouldn't it be better to just use your infantry and then keeping the cavalry as a flank guard? I know this Scorpio is very scary, but if you know Macedon, wouldn't it be better to have short pikemen here? Like these dart slingers and this Rhodian slingers is over 2,000 funds. You could almost get a short pike unit for. You can get at least 1 short pike unit for that. Then if you remove this Royal Peltast, then you can have another shock pike unit. Like pike on pike, your pikes are better. Your swordsmen are better than these Turiosi swordsmen. Get 4 of these. These are cheaper. You didn't need this one. And you may have not even needed the Agrianians. Because, like, what if you had short pikemen? Let's just give me here, like, I go to custom battles, I already made the army. Like, these Turiosi are better than the Pergamese Turiosi swordsmen. Just get your javelins into his javelins, and you will just exchange firepower. And same thing here. Like, your royal pikemen would be safer. These royal pikemen would have been a priority for the enemy missile troops, right? But you still have superior troops, and nothing of the Pergamese supporting infantry can counter these royal pikemen. Then you only need to use the Turiosi spears on the flank of these pikemen. Like your light swords against enemy light swords. Then your pikemen, you move up your bronze pikemen, fix the Pergamese pikemen. These royal pikemen, like these royal pikemen. Let's go to Pergamon here. Where is Pergamon? There it is. Would have melted this Thorax pikeman. It wouldn't have been a contest there. Like your royal pikeman would have melted anything that the Pergamese infantry could have gotten in. How about the Scorpio? Just keep your cavalry back and try to win the infantry fight. Keep out of range of the Scorpio. He will probably shoot these royal pikemen with the Scorpio. And just try to block his cavalry from gaining flanking maneuvers on your infantry. And you would have won this one. You don't need to do fancy maneuvering with your cavalry. Just keep your cavalry protecting your infantry. Don't isolate your cavalry from your infantry. Because if Pergamon was closer, he had fast cavalry, he could have exploited the gap that you made to get into rear with one single cavalry unit. You would still be able to do hammer anvils on your pikemen and have won the battle. Like this would have been a more effective army, but that's in hindsight. But know the faction and know the strength of the factions and know the weakness of the factions as well. You can see that Pergamon does have quite a good spear. units, but they are also very expensive. That's why we're mainly seeing these guys. And these are very cost-effective swordsmen, but they lack they are not as good as the Macedonian version. So yeah, don't isolate your infantry from your cavalry. Like, don't do these grand maneuvers on the flanks. Thank you for watching. Bye.